This is the Great Bend in Tibet. The Yarlung-Tsangpo River makes a spectacular U-turn here, sending the water down towards India and Bangladesh. It goes around one of the largest mountains in the Himalayas. At its center is the Yarlung-Tsangpo Grand Canyon, which is the deepest and longest gorge in the world. If you put it in a straight line, it would be about 50 kilometers longer and 3 times as deep as the Grand Canyon in the United States. As part of its 14th five-year plan, China has said that it wants to build what it says will be the world's most powerful hydroelectric dam right here in one of the most remote places on Earth. This is the most dangerous project in the world. Technically, it is the hardest to build and the most expensive project that has ever been done on any river in the world. China has been toying with the idea of building a dam at the Great Bend for about 20 years. This is because the drop from one side of the bend to the other is 2,000 meters. Even though not many details of the project have been made public, experts think that one plan for the site, which is called the Mochuo Hydropower Station, could involve digging a tunnel through a mountain that is 7,700 meters tall. The idea is to send water from a river through this tunnel to make up to 60 gigawatts of power, 3 times as much energy as the Three Gorges Dam on the Yangtze River in China, the largest hydropower station in the world. It's crazy. It makes no sense at all. It's like, one of the many problems with building here is how hard it is to get to. Medoc County didn't even have an important road until not long ago. Geologically and economically, it is also a very unstable place. First of all, it is right on a fault line between the Indian and Eurasian tectonic plates. In 1950, a magnitude 8.6 earthquake happened 200 kilometers away in the Indian state of Assam. It was one of the strongest earthquakes ever recorded in the world. More than 4,000 earthquakes above magnitude 4.5 have been recorded in the region since 1901. There are also a lot of big earthquakes in the area. In March 2021, a landslide just upstream of the canyon partly blocked the Yarlung-Tsangpo, making the river get bigger upstream. A very similar landslide on a different river in the Indian Himalayas caused a deadly flood that destroyed a bridge, killed dozens of people, and destroyed 2 hydropower plants downriver. This project would also be just a few kilometers away from the Indian state of Arunachal Pradesh, which China claims as its own. It is one of several contested areas along the line of actual control, a long, badly defined border. Since the early 1960s, this contested region has been the site of a number of wars and fights between India and China. In June 2020, there was a fight in the Galwan Valley, which is in the north. It was the first death from fighting between the two countries since 1975. All of this means that things are tense in this region, and experts think that building the world's most powerful hydropower plant right next to the disputed line will only make things worse between the two nuclear-armed neighbors. I don't think that will be seen as a weapon in China, but India or a country further down the river is a big worry. How about? Potentially you can, you know. People living downstream are worried about more than just what China might do with the water. Research shows that hydropower plants and dams can do terrible things to the environment of rivers as well. One big problem is that they keep silt from going downstream, where it would normally go. This is a problem because sediment can mess up turbines. It has been shown that this causes rivers to erode and can even cause river deltas to sink. So with all the problems this project has, why take a chance on it? Well, part of the reason is that China wants to be more environmentally friendly. We want CO2 emissions to reach their peak before 2030 and be carbon neutral by 2060. But the country's heavy reliance on coal to meet its huge energy needs makes it hard to reach these high goals. China gets more than 60% of its energy from coal-fired power plants, and the country is still building more. China gave permission for more than 38 gigawatts of new coal power to be built by 2020. This brings the overall amount of coal power in planning or development to almost 250 gigawatts. Building the Yarlung-Tsangpo Dam would only do a small part of what needs to be done for it to be carbon neutral. But Professor Wang thinks that the risky project is important because it shows how the Chinese government will deal with problems related to green energy. The Chinese government really likes the dam and the technical answer it provides. As long as tech can find a solution, they will move forward. For many, the fact that China said it wanted to do something about climate change was a big step forward for the country that puts out the most CO2 in the world. But people are worried about how it's doing it. Groups like International Rivers think that dams are not the answer and that China should look for other ways to get energy that doesn't come from fossil fuels. I think we should ask ourselves, at what cost? In the process, what would be destroyed? I don't think this is the only way to get to carbon neutrality or the only way that should be looked into. With so much at stake on so many levels, experts hope it won't be too long before Beijing says more about what it plans to do in this remote part of Tibet.